Okay, I'm going to show you Ember CLI proxy fixtures. The typical time you want to use this is if you feel that your integration test suite is getting too slow. At Dockyard, we like to run our integration test suite in, I guess, a true integration, meaning that we have our backend API server also running in a test environment. In this case, it's a Rails server. And so our integration tests are hitting that live server. In between each test run, we actually have test environment specific API endpoints on that backend server that will roll back the database and set up the data fixtures on that endpoint. So you can imagine that tearing down and setting up of the data on the Rails side is slow, and just the querying and general stuff of sending the data back to the Ember application can also be slow, and it can add up. So let's actually see that in action. So what you want to do first is any Ember CLI 0042 application, you want to add the Ember CLI proxy fixtures module to it. Make sure to do 003 or greater, npm install, and it should be there for you now. It does a couple things. It will inject a middleware prior to the HTTP proxy that will intercept responses back from that proxy server. And that middleware only runs if the proxy option is passed at the command line. And then there is some test support files. It will do some special things around the QUnit callbacks. So it will attempt to clear fixtures in Ember CLI at the start of a test suite. And then before each test run, it will actually set up some AJAX headers that are sent along with the request to the proxy, so that the middleware knows which requests and responses to capture. All right, so this is a client application called Learnivore. It's already launched. It's a pretty awesome platform for finding people to teach you things. And it has a decent size integration test suite. It runs in just under a minute. So let's start this up. And while this compiles and I'll show the running test suite, I will probably jump ahead in the video to do that for you, but here we go. Here's the test suite. Okay, so that's complete, and we can see that the test suite completed in about 50 seconds, a little bit under 50.5 seconds. So with the Ember CLI proxy fixtures running and it captures the responses, it'll write them out as fixture files. And these will be put into tests fixtures proxy. So what we see inside the proxy directory are a bunch of other directories. These directory names are actually the names of the modules. You can ignore the get request down below. That's just a leaky polar. Anyway, so the names of the modules end up being the names of the directories, and then each test for each module ends up getting a fixture file, just a JSON file. And then inside here, you're going to have the path that attempts the method. I'll go down to another one. We can see the query. So the path, the method, the query, and then there can be any number of fixtures that are available for this, because you can imagine that over the course of an integration test suite, over a course of a specific integration test, you may hit the same API endpoint more than once and expect different results. So if you created a record and you're fetching from a collection of records, the second time you're fetching that collection, you may expect that new record that you created to be part of that new collection. So having a collection of fixtures here, fixture responses, allows us to do that. And after each run of this specific fixture, it will offset to the next one. So the next time you attempt to retrieve from API v1 courses, with a get method and this query param, it will get the fixture at the next available offset. We're using Pretender to do all the HTTP mocking client side. So these JSON files actually are using a Broccoli library I wrote called JSON concat, and JSON concat will actually create a large JSON file based upon this directory structure. So it will take the proxy directory here and everything down, create a JSON, one big JSON blob out of that, and that gets concatenated into the test support JS file. And then now next time when I run the test suite, it will actually attempt to retrieve this response through Pretender rather than heading server side. So let's see what type of boost we get out of that. So we can see that it went from about 50 milliseconds down, 50 seconds down to around 33 seconds. So that's a pretty good improvement on the test suite here. We earned 17 seconds back. And of course, if your integration test suite is doing even more costly operations on the backend server, you're going to win even more. So you don't need to restart your server, your Ember CLI server. If you want to delete your fixtures, you just blow away the proxy directory like this. Broccoli will complain, so you just add it back. But now it's empty. Everything will rebuild, and now you're in a fixture-free state, and you can rerun your test suite and rebuild all your fixture files. So that might happen if you end up changing something on the back end, or ideally, not supported yet, but probably pretty easy to do, would be to just remove a specific test fixture, and you can rerun the entire test suite or just that one test and have that spit out.